Welcome back, guys. I recently had the opportunity to review a watch that some of you may have heard of, but this is the first time I'm hearing of this watch, Tandorio. This was lent to us by my local watchmaker here. He bought one online for under $100, so shout out to him. As you may know, obtaining the Captain Willard watch 6105-8110 is very expensive, and even the SPB 151, their reissue, is at $1,300. This was his alternative choice. Let's find out if it's any good. I have never had an interest in AliExpress Seiko homage watches in all my collecting. I never bothered to buy one myself. I modded using some homage parts, but never really bought a full kit diver's homage like this Captain Willard and other 62 mass, which are very common. Sure, they were cheap, but I just wanted to save up that money to buy a real Seiko that I wanted. But this watch might have changed my mind. I'll be comparing this watch to the SPB 317 that I have right here, since it is the closest one I could find in my collection, and since I don't have very issue Willard such as the SPB 151. But I think the overall build quality of this watch should be the same as the Slim Turtle or Slim Willard. So just by looking at the watch, it is really well built. I did not expect it to look and feel this crisp and solid in the hands. The fact that it has a sapphire crystal and a ceramic bezel insert really makes this a hard watch to pass on. This watch specifically has this cream, dirty white dial finish to it, which makes it look really cool and unique. However, I found the lume to be really weak, maybe because of the blacked out indices and hands, but it is still visible, but just not strong. But when you look at it in broad daylight, like we have here, it just looks awesome. The brush finishing on the top of the case is exquisite. The polished sides of the watch, it just looks really clean. And it has the smooth point edge bezel, which sounds alright. It's an okay click. It has a bit of backplay, but yeah, it's not as crisp as the Seiko, but it works. Now the movement of this Tandorio is an NH35 movement, which is basically a 4R35, which is a date only and with a hacking function. Let's try out the crown function so you can see it turns solid as a diver should. As you can see there, the second hand is stopped. There's a hacking function, really nice, screws in just like a Seiko. It comes in this FKM Tropic rubber strap, which feels fairly cheap, but yeah, I do like that it has a rubber keeper instead of this one. It always comes off when I wear this watch. This keeper is just, yeah, really the worst so far. So the downsides of this case is that it doesn't have drilled lug holes, but this watch is easily a strap monster for sure. So the case dimensions of this watch is at 44mm, a thickness of 14, a lug to lug of 48, and a lug width of 20. Comparing it to the original 6105-8110 that I have here, this watch looks more of a homage than the reissue SPB 151 case proportion wise. The SPB 151 I believe is around 42.5. This really looks similar. I measured them. The only difference is the lug to lug, which is much shorter on the original, but otherwise it is really a good case. It really just looks like the Captain Willard. It's the first time I'm showing the case back here. It says there sapphire crystal, nice and clean. Although this Captain Willard, the original, has a 19mm lug width. But yeah, so far this watch, case proportion wise and look, is much more accurate than the modern SPB 151 reissue of Seiko, except maybe the SLA 033, which is an expensive reissue. Now this watch indicates 200 meters of water resistance under there, but I think these aren't really tested for that. The best thing you could do is to open up the case and lubricate the case back gasket and maybe the crown gasket. The watch wears a bit top heavy due to the rubber strap, but the weight of this watch makes it feel even better. You just know you're wearing a tool watch or dive watch. To wrap it all up, this watch is crazy good and affordable. And as I always say, when those two things are present, it is easy to buy a lot of them. And in some cases, rightfully so. I mean, look at this SPB 317. It retails for $900, and I genuinely find it hard to find a reason if this Seiko is $800 worth more than this Tandorio. The movement is decent, the case quality is on par, the dial is unique, the insert is ceramic. I understand now why people collect these and say that Seiko is overpriced. This watch is just one of many examples. There are tons of Chinese manufacturers that make homage watches. This watch has definitely piqued my interest, and I'll definitely try to keep an open mind when looking at these AliExpress watches. But for now, the only reason why we still intend to buy Seiko, or at least consider, is because of that logo. But if you are a casual collector and don't really want to pay for an overpriced watch with basically the same, if not better parts, these homages have great value. If you own any of these homages and Seiko watches, share them down below. And I also have to ask, which homage brand do you recommend that I should look into buying, specifically the 62 Mas? Till next time, stay safe.